Do. Okay, how you doing, Miss Jennifer? How you doing, Miss Jennifer? So let me keep going with this. Okay, so when you talk about when you talk about structure, your strategy, how do you price your business? How do you price your business? If you really want to set your business up, because I hear a lot of challenges how about pricing, right? A lot of challenges. How do you price your business? Here's the amazing thing. If you set your business up right, you actually only have 125 billable days in a calendar year if you set your business up right. If we want to continue to be mom and pop organizations, of course we can work 7 days a week and all that stuff, and you still have to you're still not pricing when you meeting your maximum potential. But if you set your business up properly, vacation days, days off, sick days, all those things, right? That generates a business, or coming from an entrepreneur standpoint of how to price your business, I can actually price my business properly when I know how many billable days I have. When you talk about systems, what systems do I what is the processes that I have in place that I can be here in Charlotte and go to Camden, New Jersey, or go to Atlanta and just drop my organization right there and don't miss a beat. And then of course sales. How do we get those sales? So I want to share a couple of things with you guys real quick, uh, and then I'll really get into the class. So how many of, and I'm asking this question, how many people when you first got started, they told you to get a business plan? You can hit that button and just raise your hand, or raise your hand if I can see you. How you doing, Jen Jen? And I need your participation so I can know this will help me with so people told you to get a business plan. Let's get this business plan. You got to get a business plan. Get a business plan. The only problem with getting a business plan is full of assumptions and what ifs. That means you really have no control over your organization. Because if this doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen. And when you hand that to a bank or something, they're just going to throw it away because there's no statistical backing, there's no data that goes along with what you're putting in your business plan. Okay, well, let's say you get somebody to write your business plan. But here's the problem. They're going to get a template. You're going to do all the work. They're going to insert it in the template and they're going to hand it to you. So you have somebody writing your business plan who knows nothing about your business. So what one of the things that I want to show you something real quick. This is what we call an operational plan. Why am I saying this? Because it's going to get to all these things are going to be pertaining to your business model and strategy. We're going to talk about business models today, right? But this if you look at this, and let me try to make this a little bigger for you guys, right? So when you look at this, it actually gives us a direction of what we're going to do. It talks about for those of you who are in housing, we have Miss Munn. She want to do housing, So this particular thing shows us what we need to do and how we're going to do it and when we're going to complete it. So when each one of these things are done, we actually have statistics, we actually have data, we actually have information that we can impart into our business plan to show that it works. Nextly, how many people, if I ask, don't raise your hands on this one. Let me see your financials. Let me see how your financials are doing. Can you really show that? And how can you actually make business decisions not really knowing your financials? Once again, let me share something with you. So here we have financials. When you talk about financials, let me make that a little bigger. Let me make that a little bigger. So you're talking about revenue assumptions, cost assumptions. This, watch this. So this is where, and we're going to talk about experimental approach. This is where you're actually going to start getting your data to be able to make decisions to make your business model. So when you look at this, of course, we go down it. We're talking about the first month. It is a stair step thing. First month, second month, so forth. Expenses. When we talk about, you got your housing details, and I'm just going through this real quick. So we have our summary of stuff. We have our ROI. So all these things, right, is something that I really need, right, when it comes to developing my business model. I really need these things, or to even develop my business plan. Okay, and y'all see me looking over here because my stepdaughter taught me how to work off of two things. Well, I'm getting it. The old man. Y'all can't play with the old man, right? The old man know what he's doing, right? But and the last thing I want to show you, and this is really pertaining to what we do here at our incubation program. One of the things that you see here when we talk about the four S's, did you have you evaluated your idea? Did you find your pain point in your idea? Some of y'all are already up and running, but sometimes you got to step back to go move forward. Have you identified the validation? What is that order? What type of business model, pricing, and things like that? So this is our roadmap to success. This is how we're going to get to a place where we want you guys to be able to scale up, sustain, and hire people. Okay? So let's get ready to get into the lesson. Building your business model and strategies. Listen, and I want you guys, please, at any time, come off from mute, ask questions. Now, there will be a couple assignments for me to move forward. I will be asking certain questions, which is very important. Okay? And I need you guys to participate. There is no wrong answer. A lot of times when we do things like that, people don't want to answer or questions or anything like that because we assume that our answer is not going to be right. No, your answer is your answer. So when we talk about building your business model and strategies, one of the things we understand, if your initial findings and experiments suggest a business opportunity, you want to start to solidify your business model and strategies. You're going to need to ask yourself these following questions. I want you guys to make sure you write down experiment. When your initial findings and experiment, that's going to be very important because experimental approach is going to save you a lot of money even if you already up and running. So there was a business opportunity. What? And I'm going to ask these questions, and I need one person to come off of mute and answer based on where you at. At least two people based on where you at. First question: how will our new business create value for our customers? And if you're already an existing business, tell us how are you going to create value for your customers?
Providing safe and affordable housing for my customers.
Say that again.
Providing safe and affordable housing for my customers.
Okay. Somebody else?
Yeah, so in my business, I provide HVAC and electrical services and equipment to people of color or whoever it may be. But this business has been getting over on people for years. So providing a service, a good service, and being able to back it up and be there for them and whatever they need.
Okay, so and listen, I'm going to do a lot of challenging. I want y'all to make sure, and we're going to go to the next question. Remember, the question was, how are you going to create value for your customer? That's the key. How are you going to create value for your customers? Next question, real quick. How will you make a profit for us and for yourself and your investors? Real quick. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll just go through them and we'll keep moving on. So you need to ask yourself, how will the business differentiate itself from its competitors? How will the business defend its assets and position from its competitors? How will the business be discovered? You should have concise answers for anyone who asks these questions. So we have to understand when we're talking about our business model, when we're talking about developing our program, when we see a business opportunity, these are some of the baseline questions that we should have already answered, or we should already be able to answer as we move forward. So what we're going to show in this workshop, we're going to show business models and strategies will help you get started. Firstly, when we talk about business executives, and if I'm going too fast, please tell me to slow down because I have a tendency to be excited because I think I'm a cool nerd. This stuff like this excites me when I'm able to give information that can change us to another level, that can grow us as people of color, and that we can sustain, and that we can grow, and that we can hire, and that we can have a different mindset on how we look at business, right? That we don't lose a lot of money, that we don't have to keep relaunching and restarting and things like that, that we don't have to keep trying to figure stuff out. Business executives, consultants, and the business media often use the term business model and strategy casually and interchangeable. And indeed, various experts' definitions of the two terms sometimes intermingle. But as entrepreneurs, we will have to watch this. We will benefit by thinking of these concepts separately. We need to understand we need a business model and we need a strategy. Okay? We need a business model and we need a strategy.
I have a question.
And this is how we use the terms. Hold on one second. A business model identifies your customer and describes how your business will be profitable, address those needs, how it will address these needs in a profitable manner. I'm going to say that again. A business model identifies your customer and describes how your business will address their needs in a profitable manner. Strategy, on the other hand, is about determining how you will do better than your competitors. I will say that again. Strategy is about determining how will you do better than your competitors. Both a business plan and a strategy are required for your business to succeed. Remember, with our business plan, we want to do an operational plan to get the statistics and the data that verifies, that backs up the business plan, and that we can use as we use our strategy. Those things that I showed you, the financials, the operational plans, those are the things that you're going to information that you're going to use to actually set up your business plan. Let's do a little backdrop about business plan. How did a business model? Excuse me, I said business plan. The term business model came into popular use when spreadsheets softwares first allowed entrepreneurs and analysts to early model the cost and revenue associated with any proposed business. What is that saying? After the model was set up, it took a few keystrokes. When you got to do a spreadsheet, just hit a couple keystrokes, right? And then this paper comes out and it gives you an example. For example, it gives you the prices, the profit margin, and the supplier's costs on the company's bottom line. That's all on the spreadsheet, and we're all familiar with that. So that's how the term business model came into effect.
Okay, Apostle, Mrs. Munn, she has a question.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So, Apostle, business model, does that need to be evidence based, or what is your take on that?
Good question. Your business model will cause you to become evidence based.
Okay. So
Okay.
so my business model will be causing me to become evidence based. Is that based on my statistics and the felt need of the service that I'm presenting in the community?
When you run that operational plan is going to show you the statistics and data that you need. As you have let me give you an example. If you have a client come in, for instance, you're going to track that client for the first 90 days in different categories, right? And so let's just use it for a 90-day thing. So for the first 90 days, you're going to track that client, different categories. At the end of that 90 days, that makes it evidence-based based on how many clients you have, based on the data that you receive from those 90 days and so forth. So that which will cause you, and I'm using that as a short term, really it takes a year or two become evidence-based, but I'm just using that 90-day period. That gives you the data that you need, and that gives you the statistics that you need that will that will allow you to become evidence-based.
One more question. So,
No, keep going. You can ask as many as you want.
so the strategy that I'm setting up is not to compete with my competition, but to see what they're doing so I could probably add a few more services to my business. Is that
So
how I'm? Is that right?
let us deal with the business model, then we'll get to the strategy.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Thanks.
No, you good. No, that's a good question. That's a good
Okay.
question. Because if you looked at, see, if I go back, one of the questions was about your competitors, right? And I think that question is one of your initial questions to be asked, would answer what you just said. But tonight, we're just going to deal with the business model because that's what's going to lead into you having your strategies, okay?
Right.
Does it
Okay.
make sense?
Yes. I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So now, so this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm trying to shift your mindsets even deeper than what it is, because I know you guys got it going on. So now we're going to talk about defining your business model. Continue a portfolio financial statements were the primary documents of business model. A performer. Okay, so that was one of the prime when we're still talking about how the business model happened, right? The foundation, how it was created, right? So the portfolio, the financial statement. Well, what is a performer? A performer is a method of calculating financial results using certain projection and presumptions. You're going to keep seeing that word projection and presumptions because it's all projections, what you're doing now. It's all presumptions. And that's why when we talk about the experimental approach, which we're getting ready to talk about, it saves you a lot of money. So the emphasis was on the idea that watch this. The emphasis was on the idea that a model could tell you something about your business before it launched. So your portfolio, your statements, your spreadsheet that try to give you information actually before you launch your business. That was then. Now, much of our focus of the experimental approach to entrepreneurs is on business models specifically. Exactly the definition that we gave to you of a business model. When we're talking about an experimental approach, we'll tell you about the lean approach, but that's further down the line. But an experimental approach before you launch, in the most basic sense, a business model describes how an enterprise proposes to make money. Period. That's what your business model. I showed you my financials. My financials is actually showing you first year, second year, third year, all those ROIs, all those things were being shown, right, in my experimental approach to see if that works. Strategy expert Joan has provided a useful introduction to business model in Why Business Models Matter in a 2002 Harvard Business Review. Don't let the year 2002, remember, this is not a book, this is a business review. This is an article. Okay? When you have an article, that's something that stands the test of time until somebody else changes it. So when she talks about, she views a business model as a variety of value chains that supports every business. So it's a chain of events. She says there's two parts to this thing. The first part includes all your activities. This goes for service and non-service. All the activities associated with making something, designing it, purchasing raw materials, and manufacturing, and so on. So your first part, right, includes activities associated with what? Developing, designing, purchasing, manufacturing, so forth and so forth, whatever your business is. The second one includes activities associated with selling, finding, reaching customers, sales, distribution of products. So you got to look at these two different approaches that you have to have, two different chains. One is linked into the other, right? So if you don't have one, then something fails. So it talks about, so it goes on to explain that unsuccessful business models fail one or both of these two tests. The narrative test, the numbers test. The narrative test is what you're explaining. Your numbers is test how you're going to make the money. Okay? Now, this is the question. Does your model tell a logical, sensible story? Well, if you don't have a model, I guess we can't really answer that question. So we got to be able to understand, does this model tell the story of what we're doing? And if you were to represent your model on a portfolio income statement with regional projections and revenue expenses, would it be profitable? Now, some of y'all who are already up and running, some of y'all are thinking about running, is your model projecting the revenue and expenses, and would it be profitable? Well, once again, without my financial statements, without my budget, without my projections, right? I can't answer this question. So let's do this. A useful starting point, understanding the power of the business plan. Understanding the power of the business plan. A useful starting point for understanding different possibilities for your business model is a list of existing models assembled by Mark Johnson in his book, Business Models Innovation. One of the things that we do in our incubation program, we actually show you the 22 different type of business models. But what's more importantly, you can see the 22 different type of business models, but there are 7 criterias that meet each model. Let me give you an example. I was in Goldsboro, North Carolina, back in 1990 something or 2000. When was that? Pastor Rob, was about 2000, 1999, early 2000s. So everybody at that time wanted to get a 501c3. You had all these churches, you had all these organizations, but at the time, lawyers was charging like $1,500 to $2,000. So nobody actually, could afford it at that time. So this is what I'm talking about, certain type of models. When you talk about look at the 7 criteria, one of the criteria is what is the startup cost? And because I understood pretty much certain things, so I self-taught myself how to do the 1023 form, the articles of incorporation, bylaws, get an EIN number. Now, I didn't have any money, right? But what was the only thing I needed to do the job? The only thing I needed was a computer. So I charged $500. I got a $250 deposit. I went to Rent-A-Center and rented a computer for $30-something.
I know that's right.
So with that, so what happened was I used that computer. I got my first person approved, and the word of mouth, I was averaging for a week at 250, and I developed to where I could do it in 30 minutes. But because of the model I used, it wasn't a whole lot of startup costs or equipment costs. I started up with zero money, right? My actual startup cost was, I think it was $48 for the laptop, and I used that from the deposit from the person I was doing business for. So that's why it's important. We always talk about capital. Well, you don't really know how much capital you need until you're in the type of model that you are using. Some models take a lot of capital? How much marketing does it take? Do you have to hire in people? So as you're getting to our program, a lot of time we'll tell you the 7 categories, and then we break that down to see what model is best for you, and then we experiment with it before you start wasting your money on things. Some of the most powerful and profitable companies created new business models that were elegant and compelling in logic and powerful and financial potential. Let me tell you a story about Airbnb. Airbnb, right? These guys had this apartment in San Francisco, right? So, look, the rent went up, but they had a couple extra rooms. So they started renting out their rooms, right? As they were renting out their rooms, they started doing other things, right? And it was becoming very profitable. Then they flatlined. But the point is, the model that they made was different from a regular hotel. Their overhead cost was their apartment, right? So they had no overhead, and then they actually created income based on the opening of their rooms. And now look at Airbnb. And here's the thing: when they flatlined, they actually, and we'll share that later, they actually went through an incubation program. And when they did that, because they went through the incubation program and did that experimental approach, they took off. Look where they at now. So I want to kind of get you guys to start thinking outside of the box. Our ethnicity, we're trying to figure out stuff that we don't have to figure out. Considering your business model. Considering your business model. Two Harvard Business School professors have refined the definition. They changed it, they redefine, or refined the definition of business models as business decision trade-offs that fall in. These are the four categories that you should understand about your business model. When considering a business model, these are four groups, okay? One is revenue sources. This money comes from sales, service fees, advertisement, and so forth. Where are you getting your money from? How are you getting your money? Cost drivers. Examples are labor is good, purchase for resale, and energy. Listen, that last one was energy. Cost drivers. What's going to, what's driving us? Is our labor cost, is our goods and purchase, is our energy. Investment size. Every business needs a measurable level of investment to get off the ground in the case of working capital to keep it operating. That's why it's important to know the type of model. Does your particular model, how much capital does it take to start your model? And if you don't have that, we have to tweak it to be able to do what we need to do. And critical success factors. Depending on the business, success factors might be able to roll out new products or sustain basic success in reaching critical mass of businesses within a certain time and so forth. So a lot of times we start making money, and I'm guilty of this. We had our program in New Orleans. We had an 8-unit apartment complex. I remember the first year we made $350,000. I was like, we generated $350,000. At the time, I thought I made $350,000, but I really didn't make $350,000. And so a lot of time when people tell y'all they made 6 figures, did they make 6 figures or did they really make 6 figures? I want y'all to think about that. And then my second year I made another 350, and then the third year I made another 350. Was I really making money? Because if I flatlined at the same thing, right? What happened was other people started opening up houses, facilities just like mine, and they actually caught up and was starting to pass me until I had to expand. But the point I'm making is we have to understand, like we just can't rely on our source. We have to be able to roll out new products or new services to keep moving forward or expand. Considering your business model, here goes some more questions that you need to ask. How would you describe your company or business concept in terms of these model elements? Have you nailed down your revenue sources and factors that will drive costs for your business? Do you know which costs will be fixed and will vary with sales volumes? Have you calculated the capital you'll need to launch and operate your business? Now, it said need to launch. Some of y'all are already in business. What is it going to take you to scale up? Okay, what does that figure look like? Okay, so when we say launch, well, technically when you're scaling up, you're launching another level of your business. What factors are essential for your success? And see, all these questions you need to answer. If you're going to have investors, you definitely need to know some of these things. So how do we test your business model? Many of these questions are impossible to answer at the outset of a venture. So all these questions I asked you, if you had a difficult time of answering them, guess what? You're right where you're supposed to be. So when you talk about work, it's called a business model canvas. A business model canvas. One of the things about a business model canvas, and we break that down in your lean approach, it tells you the four components of a business model canvas. Okay? It emphasizes the elements of a business model. Watch this, are not decisions, but rather assumptions. Everything you're starting out with assumptions or hypotheses that may or may not be true or may not always be true depending on various conditions. So your hypothesis, we have to test your assumptions. We have to test your hypothesis before you start your business or before you try to expand to scale up. Of the essential factors that you defined earlier, which are you unsure about? What are some of the things that you heard tonight, right, that you are unsure about? Oh man, am I doing this thing right? Uh, I didn't know that. I never thought about that. I'm not sure if I'm doing that particular thing right. Am I really ready to scale up? Do I have everything in place? See, if you can find ways to test those factors before developing your product or service offering, or before approaching investors, you could be much more confident about the profitability of your success. And if you understand what might change about your hypothesis, perhaps there are competitors in that space now. There are no competitors in that space now, but will there be in the future? So these are some of the things that we're trying to get you to look at, okay? So you have a better understanding the risks in your plan, the risks to better equip and merge together. See, as entrepreneurs, risk is a big factor. So we want to experiment. We understand it's a risk, but we understand we can minimize what that risk factor is.
My apologies, Apostle. Ms. Moon,
That's
if you
okay.
could mute, please.
So real quick, we're going to finish up incubators and accelerator. What is an incubator? If you want to build a strong and effective network among other leaders and entrepreneurs in your industry, incubators often provide you with the perfect method of doing so. Many highly successful and well-known companies began as startups that used incubators. For instance, you had, like I said, Airbnb, Dropbox, and many more companies that went through there. That's something that we have. Why is an incubator so important? Incubators are growing in popularity in recent years due to the many benefits that they provide to startups and businesses with a growth mindset. Why? Because you have all these resources around you. Some of the resources we have to help with your administrative, with help with your branding, to help with your marketing, to help with your finances. So all those things are shaped around you in an incubation. Whether you just don't currently have the proper resources or unsure of how to effectively grow your business, incubators often provide you with everything you require at much lower cost. Watch this, than you would typically need to spend trying to figure it out on your own. I'm going to say that again because that's the buzzword. I'm trying to figure it out. While you're trying to figure it out, it's costing you money. Inside your experimental approach, it's not costing you anything because it allows you before you launch to tweak and change whatever that model is or whatever that criteria is for you to fit the perfect model for you without losing money. And what is Silk Financial Incubation side? We're a hands-on business incubator. What is a hands-on business incubator? We offer incubation services emphasizing training and mentoring as opposed to access to finances or network. So we want to train you, we want to mentor you, we want to get you where your structure, strategy, system, and sales, your 4S's are in place, right? We talk about 4C's, we're talking about commitment, we're talking about courage, we're talking about capability, and we talk about confidence. We have to make sure that you grow personally in order for your business to grow. A lot of times people don't realize if you're not growing personally, then your business is only going to grow as much as you go personally. So we deal with both sides. The four S's, structure, strategy, system, and sales, and your four C's talks about your commitment, your courage, your capability, and your confidence. Number two, we address the challenges entrepreneurs face developing their entrepreneur capacity to be able to get their business off the ground and scale up. We talk about our incubation program. Some of you guys don't need the incubation program. Some of you guys, the accelerator program is something that you need specifically. What does accelerate? Provide intense and time limited business support. So, your incubator could be 1 year, 2 year. It could be a long process as you're developing your business. The accelerator actually is pinpointing on something specifically, and it's time sensitive. We can identify the risks in your concept and help you work on minimizing them. We can make a huge social impact by scaling up, leveraging technologies for connecting, evaluating, and mentoring businesses. Our goal is to make sure that you can scale your business, sustain your business, and hire your business to make an impact in your community. And that is that. So do anybody have any questions I know you wrote down some questions. Does anybody have any questions at this time? I must have did a great, go ahead. I see somebody get ready to say something.
Just to piggyback on I think that's Ms. Munn's question with having a process, or you want to start a business, but you don't have the data to start the business or know the direction in which, hey, how should I price my product if it's an individual product, or how should I price my service? Are we collecting that data from other people that's actually doing the same thing that we want to do, and we're duplicating it and adding our own thing to it to make it different? Or we are just starting off with a set price and then changing the price accordingly?
Well, you're definitely good question, Jennifer. You're definitely going to do your research. You're going to do your market research and see where everybody's at. Okay. And so remember, there's three different type of prices: product, value, and cost. So determine on which one I'm going to use. Let's use value pricing for instance. Okay. So I'm looking at each competitor. I'm looking at the high, I'm looking at the low, and somewhere in the middle. Our main mindset as new startups, or even people who are in business less than 2 years, our mindset is, okay, I need to price lower, right, than that guy who's been in business for 10, 15 years or whatever. Well, that's not how you look at it. When we talk about value pricing, right, we're going to price based on the value that we bring, period. So it doesn't make a difference if I've been in business 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. I'm gonna do my market research. I'm gonna look at the pricing, and then if I set my business model up properly, right, using vacation days, sick days, work days, all, and we give you that whole list, and then I have 125 billable days, right? So then I can know exactly how to price my business based on the billable days and based on the value that I'm bringing. So you're going to do your research. You're going to price it not based on how long you've been in service, but the value that you bring to your customer. Remember, this is the key. Solving an identifiable problem that adds value to your customer with cost is not an issue. Give you an example. We have ladies that when you go shopping and it's something you want specifically, if I go shopping and I'll go look at an item and I'll walk past something and I'll look at something, I say, excuse me, how much does this cost? And I'll ask them questions. Remember, I said, how much does this cost? And I'll ask them. But if I go shopping and I'm looking for something specifically and I see that thing and I call the salesperson over, I start asking questions about the product, right? I say, okay, I'll take this. Never once did I ask about the price. because this is the thing that add value to solve whatever problem that I needed it for. So yes, do your research. Depend on what pricing you're going to use, cost, product, or value, right? And that'll determine what you do. Now, your operational plan will give you the data, right, to see the value that you add to people. With your lean startup, right? And that's another component. Your lean startup actually, before you even launch or before you even scale up, you're actually asking customers, people that you can target, you're asking them questions about your product, and they'll tell you. The back in the day where, oh no, we can't ask nobody questions, we got to keep it all into ourselves, we don't want nobody to know anything about it, are well long gone. Our customers will tell us how to price, but we need to understand our billable days. That's a more corporate look, right? Because I've been on a lot of trainings and stuff like that, and people ask for prices, but they never broke it down to them. How do you actually price your business? Okay, is that good? Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question. With the 125 days billable days, are you talking about billing Medicaid for services for units?
No, we're talking about internal stuff in your organization. Uh, like I say, vacation days, sick
Okay.
days, things like days that, holidays. So you want to back out all those things, right? Even though nowadays we're entrepreneurs, they say we work every day, we work every day, but you're not. Are you pricing your business right based on your billable days? Okay, most Fortune 500 corporations, they know what their billable days are, and that's why I say I want to try to change our mindset a little differently. For instance, when people say they want to make six figures, okay, do you make six figures or are you making six figures? If I want to make $100,000, so if somebody actually makes $100,000, then did they make six figures? No. If I want to make $100,000, if I take out insurance, if I take out this, if I take out taxes, if I take out all my expenditures, right? I actually need to make $175,000 to make $100,000. So those are the things that we have to look at when we actually doing our budget and we're actually pricing to actually make what we need to make. So if I make $100,000, but I don't take out none of my expenses, none of that stuff, so in actuality, I only make $25,000. I could have kept working on a regular job. So I need to know for 100,000, I need to make 175,000. Anybody else? Oh, okay. Well, that is so good. I'm so glad. Look, so actually, I appreciate everybody coming on. One of the things we're going to be reaching out to some of you guys. We're also going to have some more workshops that we developed. Some of you guys, if you're interested in being a part of our incubation program, we're going to reach out to you. And, and we're going to reach out to you in the next couple of days. We would love to listen. We would love to get responses from you guys. How did the class work? So just real quick, so we can get out of here. Can everybody tell me just real quick? Was the information valuable? Did you get something out of it? And would this be something you would like to? Would this be something that you would continue with us? Okay.
Someone, is that you, Mr. Meeks?
We,
Okay, your connection and we,
it's really bad.
okay,
Barely.
barely.
No, he's still the same.
We can hear you, but it's very low. It's a lot of static in the background. Yeah, it's the feedback. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Sidney, real quick, tell me a little bit how what you got out the class.
And
Was it
Mr.
informative?
Roberts, what you can do, sorry, Apostle, you could
No,
just
good.
type it in the chat, Mr. Meeks, Pastor Meeks. You just type it in the chat and we could just address it from there. Okay, you could go for it, Mr. Apostle. My apologies.
Okay. Very, very, very great information. I got a lot out of it. Learning the structure and the business model, I think that's going to pay major dividends for me and my business. Because I learned a lot of things that I thought I knew, but I don't know. And that's what I'm looking to gain. So, looking forward to, possibly working with you all to, gain this knowledge and, help scale my business. I have a bunch of competitors and, I would like to scale and make my business substantial, in my community. So appreciate all the information.
Miss Munn?
Yes, this was very informative, and I come from the mindset of a business plan. So I definitely would like to learn more about the motto and definitely to change my concept of the business plan, because that's all I've been learning is the business plan and demographics and statistics and all of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more.
Miss Jennifer?
I definitely appreciate the training that we had tonight. I think it provided me a better outlook on different business models, especially for serial entrepreneurs. We can't go into all our businesses with just one model and expect type of outcome or the same return in profit. So learning how to bring value to each business model would definitely help me personally in pricing service and product, since I have two different types of businesses.
So I just want to give a shout out real quick to Miss Jennifer. Miss Jennifer, we were working on a business proposal. Hey, tell us that experience real quick, Miss Jennifer. No, yeah, come on, come on. I need the testimony. I need the testimony. Come on, tell that experience and how did the incubation program actually assist you in that real quick.
I think my connection just dropped.
Nah.
We can hear you loud and clear, ma'am.
The incubation programs that I participate in and I'm still a part of with Ray Wilkerson actually was very profitable and very notable. And other companies that I've actually tried to work with did not have the hands-on effect that I had here. Starting the incubation program actually got me approval faster than other people that actually started the same type of program that we have started as a group. And so that was that was just for us overwhelming to know that, hey, everyone else is going through this process 2-3 times. And because we have the process in the hands-on experience and guidance from this program, we actually were approved on the first go round. So that is, I guess, our testimony when you have someone that actually walks you through the steps and the same things that the training program had taught us to actually be presented with their particular program or model. The incubation program that we were a part of duplicated that and offered more details, and we were able to stand out versus everyone else.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Praise God.
We have two people that just jumped on board. Real quick, can y'all introduce yourself? Tell you these my peeps from my hometown, Camden, New Jersey. Y'all heard me. We got my big dogs in the house. Everybody say Al. CC is in the house, and we got the number one. You know what? I'm gonna leave it alone. Tell everybody who you are, what y'all do, real quick, and we'll have to send y'all the recording.
Go ahead, baby.
How you doing? My name is Marquita. This is my husband, Jesse Walker.
We're Paint to Perfection. We're a professional painting company. We paint residential, commercial, interior, exterior. We're a startup company, and that's the basics right there. So
Right.
And Mustafa, but we'll call him Jesse or Rookie, but that's my brother Mustafa. He
Yeah, we've been long-time friends, man.
he one of the
Yeah, we
best
go back for.
basketball players that came up out of the city of Camden. Did y'all won the national championship one year, right? When you was on
Yeah,
one?
1978. Yeah, we
Yeah,
was
he had a
top
nice game.
dogs.
He had a nice
Yeah,
game, but it wasn't as good as mine. But he had a nice game. We all right.
yeah.
Okay,
Played
okay, okay,
professional
okay.
ball overseas in France. I speak French and things like that. But yeah, this is my dog right here. This is my brother, man. Yes,
So
sir.
now I'm gonna get on y'all for being late. But anyway, we're gonna send y'all this stuff. Mr. Leo, make sure you reach out to them tomorrow, okay? Because I gotta reset and get them in. If we don't have any more questions and if everything is good, look, we really appreciate. I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Leo so we can close out. Unfortunately, Miss Satora, she is at Little Silk. Oh, Mustafa, we got another little Silk, Miss Satora. Her son plays ball. I allowed him to have my name Silk. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
He little
Yo,
Silk, little Silk in the house. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna turn it over to you to tell. And once again, I thank y'all. I thank you guys for tuning in. And this is one of many. And we're gonna move on. We want to make sure you scale up. We're gonna make sure you are sustainable, and we want to make sure that you'll be able to hire people that you can make a difference in your community. That you can start. Watch this, decreasing the wealth gap. The only way we can decrease the wealth gap as African American people in America is to be able to start hiring people because we're minus 6 million jobs because we have too many mom and pop organizations, and we have to come out of that mentality, and we have to set up like a corporation that we
exactly,
grow into
exactly,
greatness,
exactly.
that we don't have to change into greatness. Turn it over to you, Mr. Lear.
Yes, 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 yes. And Pastor Meek, he said that it was very informative, and just thank you for the information. And he is excited. So I know we were not able to hear him, but I just want to just put that information out. So thank you, everyone that came on tonight. I'm super excited. In this season, it is time for us to elevate. In this season, it is time for us to go forth. In this season, it's time for us to possess, to conquer, and to rule. We have the information that we need. Now is the time to go. Now is the time to go back to reach for our brothers and our sisters. Now is the time. We have no excuse. We have all the information that we need right at the tip of our hands. So I just want to say, stay encouraged, be encouraged. And next time we have a meeting, please come off mute. Come off of mute so we can see your beautiful face. I understand that we have social distance in person, but let's not have social distance on Zoom, right? Because we have a business. And if we're running our business, we want to present ourselves. We want people to be able to see us. Now, if you have something going on, that's completely understanding. Maybe if you could come on just for maybe like a couple of minutes, just to present ourselves so we could put a face with the name would be very important. So I'm just super excited. Like I say, I am Talia. If you have any questions, you have my information. You can reach me through Visa email, text, or you can call me. But I just want to say, go forth, be encouraged, and stay encouraged. You know something? We got this, and we are Silk Financial, nice and smooth.
Woo! Peace out.
Yeah,
I like that.
Talk to
all
y'all
right,
later.
man.
Thank
Apologize.
you.
Good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
No,
you.
you good.
And
Y'all good.
we want to apologize, man, but we was out doing business, man, and try to make this thing uh, uh, big as it can be, man. But we apologize.
No, you good because look, stuff like this is why we here to make sure that you don't have to do that, that we have the processes in place, that we have people to do that for you.
Okay.